At the beginning of its nationhood, Israel was merely a small country in the ancient Near East. But under Solomon's governance, it gradually rose to great prominence. What factors led to his success? Let's take a closer look through the lens of the Book of Kings.
After Solomon ascended the throne, he followed the governmental structure established by David and appointed officials at all levels. The central government consisted of Solomon and 11 key ministers, 12 in total. The nation was divided into 12 administrative districts, each overseen by a regional governor. Each district took turns providing food for the royal household 1 month at a time. Solomon's provision for one day was 30 cores of choice flour and 60 cores of meal, 10 fat oxen and 20 pasture-fed cattle, 100 sheep, besides deer, gazelles, roebucks, and fatted fowl.
Israel had 12 tribes, and now under the coordination of the king and his 11 ministers, 12 central leaders, and the 12 district governors. Responsibility was shared at every level, enabling the United Kingdom to grow steadily in strength and order. Moreover, the foreign nations that had oppressed Israel since the time of the judges were now subdued one by one.
Solomon was sovereign over all the kingdoms from the Euphrates to the land of the Philistines, even to the border of Egypt. They brought tribute and served Solomon all the days of his life. During Solomon's lifetime, Judah and Israel lived in safety, from Dan even to Beersheba, all of them under their vines and fig trees.
The author uses the sand on the seashore to describe the multitudes of Israelites, and also uses it to illustrate God's generosity in granting Solomon wisdom. The origin of all this abundance was Solomon's prayer from years ago. You and I can also learn to ask for wisdom as Solomon did. The Lord our God, full of love and grace, is the source of all wisdom and abundance. God's mission for Solomon was not only to build a strong and prosperous nation, but more importantly, to establish a national value system centered on the worship of God. Solomon obeyed God's call and set out to build the temple.
At that time, God sent Hiram, king of Tyre and an ally of David, to provide Solomon with cedar and pine wood. He also sent Sidonians who were skilled in cutting timber to assist in temple construction. Solomon conscripted laborers from among the Israelites and foreign workers, 80,000 to quarry stone in the hills, 70,000 to carry loads, and 3,300 foremen to supervise. Everything was ready. At Solomon's command, huge foundation stones were laid. A massive construction project lasting 7 years was officially underway.
In the second month of the 4th year of Solomon's reign, 966 BC, in the month of Ziv, which was the 480th year after the Israelites came out of Egypt, construction of the temple began.
To follow Moses' instruction that no iron tools be used on the temple stones, all the stones were cut and finished at the quarry. As a result, during the construction, no iron tool sounds were heard on the temple site. The temple consisted of an outer sanctuary and an inner sanctuary, with the main hall facing east. The temple was 27 meters long, 9 meters wide, and 13.5 meters high. The outer sanctuary measured 18 meters in length, while the inner sanctuary, the most holy place, was 9 meters in length, width, and height. The outer sanctuary had door frames made of olive wood and folding double doors made of pine. Carvings of cherubim, palm trees, and blossoming flowers adorned the doors, and everything was overlaid with pure gold. The walls and ceiling of the outer sanctuary were entirely paneled with cedar wood. The floor was covered with pine planks, and the entire surface was overlaid with gold. Golden chains were hung across the entrance to the inner sanctuary. Doors made of olive wood were installed, also carved with cherubim, palm trees, and blossoming flowers, and overlaid with gold. In the inner sanctuary, the most holy place, stood 2 cherubim made of olive wood, symbolizing the presence of God. Each cherub was 4.4 meters tall, with wings spanning 2.2 meters each. One wing of each cherub touched the wall, and the other touched the wing of the other cherub. They too were overlaid with gold. The Ark of the Covenant was placed in the center, signifying God's presence with his people. Surrounding the outer and inner sanctuaries, 3 levels of side rooms were built. The ground floor was 2.2 meters wide, the middle floor 2.7 meters, and the third floor 3.1 meters. A stairway allowed access between levels. Cedar beams rested on ledges built into the temple walls. In August of 959 BC, in the 11th year of Solomon's reign, during the month of Bul, the temple was completed. It took 7 years to build.
During the construction period, God appeared to King Solomon twice to reveal his will. God said,
"If you will walk in my statutes, obey my ordinances, and keep all my commandments, by walking in them, then I will establish my promise with you that I made to your father David. I will dwell among the Israelites and will not forsake my people Israel."
This command echoed David's dying charge to Solomon and shows us that what God cared about was not the visible temple, but Solomon's heart.
A skilled bronze craftsman named Hiram came from Tyre. In front of the temple porch, he cast 2 large bronze pillars named Jachin and Boaz. He also made the sea of cast metal, 10 basins, and various bronze items such as pots, shovels, and basins used in the temple. Solomon also had the golden altar made, the table for the bread of the presence, the golden lampstands, and all other furnishings of pure gold for the temple. Once the work was complete, Solomon brought in the gold and silver vessels that his father David had prepared and stored them in the temple treasury.
The Hebrew word beit can be translated as house, home, or palace. Besides building a house for God, Solomon also spent nearly twice as long constructing his own house, a complex of 5 distinct buildings.
The first of these was the Palace of the Forest of Lebanon, measuring 44 by 22 meters. It was likely used as a hall to receive foreign dignitaries. Its area was more than 4 times that of the temple. It featured 3 rows of cedar columns with cedar beams across the tops. Each row had 15 columns totaling 45. Above the columns were side chambers. The second building was a beautifully carved colonnade, measuring 22 meters long and 13 meters wide. The third building was the Hall of the Throne, or Hall of Judgment, where the king administered justice and gave proclamations. From floor to ceiling, it was paneled with cedar. The fourth building was Solomon's personal residence, located behind the Hall of Judgment. It was designed to match the same grandeur and standards. The fifth building was a palace Solomon built for his wife, Pharaoh's daughter. It was just as lavish as his own residence.
All of these structures, from foundation to eaves, were constructed with costly stone, cut to size and laid in perfect order. The courtyards were designed in the same pattern as the inner courtyard of the Lord's temple and the temple porch. In contrast, the splendor of the Holy Temple seemed almost overshadowed. This abrupt narrative shift in the text highlights how during the temple's construction, Solomon was equally, if not more, devoted to building his own opulent palace. This foreshadowed his future decline.
Once the temple was completed, Solomon gathered all the leaders during the Feast of Booths. The priests and Levites brought the Ark of the Covenant and all the furnishings of the tabernacle from the city of David into the temple, placing them beneath the wings of the 2 cherubim. When the priests exited the holy place, the glory of the Lord filled the temple so powerfully that they could not remain standing to minister. Solomon then stood before the altar, facing the assembly of Israel, and blessed them. He spread out his hands toward heaven and prayed, "O Lord, God of Israel, there is no God like you in heaven above or on earth beneath, keeping covenant and steadfast love with your servants who walk before you with all their heart. The covenant that you kept for your servant my father David as you declared to him. You promised with your mouth and have this day fulfilled with your hand.
The completion of the temple was the result of both God's choosing and human obedience. It was built as a dwelling place for the Ark of the Covenant. But did God really need a house to dwell in? Solomon continued, saying,
But will God indeed dwell on the earth? Even heaven and the highest heaven cannot contain you, much less this house that I have built. Regard your servant's prayer and his plea, O Lord my God, heeding the cry and the prayer that your servant prays to you today.
Whether it is the temple or any church building, no physical structure can contain the fullness of God's glorious presence. Yet the God who makes heaven his throne and earth his footstool is merciful toward those with a humble and repentant heart. He draws near to those who are brokenhearted and contrite.
At the dedication of the temple, Solomon lifted his hands toward heaven and prayed on behalf of the nation and the people, saying, Hear the plea of your servant and of your people Israel when they pray toward this place. O hear in heaven your dwelling place, hear and forgive. The number 7 in the Bible often signifies completeness. In his prayer, Solomon presented 7 different scenarios, asking the omnipresent God to offer full and gracious protection to the people of Israel.
In the New Testament, God's children are invited to approach the throne of grace with boldness, and to, in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God.
Solomon's prayer of temple dedication also foretold that when the people of Israel would one day be taken into captivity by foreign nations, if they repented and confessed their sins, God would hear their cries and lead them back. This part of the prayer was a call to repentance, especially moving for readers who were still living in exile. It stirred their hearts with hope. At the conclusion of the temple dedication, Solomon offered sacrifices to the Lord, and the people of Israel received blessings and returned home with joy.
The most important achievement in Solomon's life was the construction of the temple of the Lord. Yet, during the process, he became more focused on building his own palace than the house of God. This serves as a reminder to us we must regularly weigh our hearts on the scales. What is it that we truly value? Just like the psalmist prayed, Search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me and know my thoughts. See if there is any wicked way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting.
Spring of Water International Ministries invites you to journey with us, giving seed to the sower and bread to the eater. For more details, please contact Spring of Water International Ministries.